How you guys doing? Yes, we're following up from yesterday's video, and I do want to say big shout out to you guys, the community, all watching the video, liking the video, commenting on the video. Hopefully, the devs are watching today's video and yesterday's video and starting to take notes, because as many people are saying, we're kind of sick and tired of how much power creep is coming into the game, and it's not paced properly, and we're being lied to on a constant basis, and it's just not fun anymore for anyone. And many people are looking to quit if things aren't changing, and obviously I'm not gonna say no, because even myself has been looking at other games to be playing if this is the way Age of Empires mobile is going to be, because it's just not good enough for, I think, anyone in the community anymore. And we're going to kind of showcase that even further in today's video by actually just showcasing a lot of people keep forgetting in game that you can do is actually the difference on these unit stats, especially when you get T7, get T8, get T9, understand why this is so powerful. And on top of it, big shout out to Blaine, because we're going to be reacting to his gameplay, where this was again last week, or so basically on the weekend or Friday, and it's Desolate Desert time, and we've got T8 pikemans being used, since we've already seen, and we will be showcasing again those reports from Dreamy with T8 swordsmen, and going really in depth, looking at all of these reports, looking at the damage, look at the eliminations, you name it, right? We're gonna be doing all of that, right? So today's video, it's gonna be a spicy one. So smash like, comment, and subscribe, and let's just get into, obviously, the crux and Sneakyy of it all, right? So if we go in game, the main issue we have, obviously, is the power creep of T8 and T9 units, because as many people should know, your power of your unit here is honestly based on these three main stats, which is your defense, your attack, and your health. This is basically how strong your march is depending on the type of unit. So if you look at like swordsmen, you'll notice they've got a pretty good even spread of attack and health. It's pretty 50-50, right? But they've got a nice high amount of defense, so they can take hits in there, right? Look at pikemen, it's a little bit on the opposite, right? They've got a lot more attack, a lot more defense, and then the health is down at 146. This is so then they can obviously take a lot more hits than a swordsman can, obviously take that damage and use counter attacks now to flip out. So that kind of makes sense with the pikemen, right? When you look at cavalry, these guys have some of the highest attack in the game, but the defense and the health, again, 146, 146, and the only unit in the game with the most speed. So cavalry can technically chase down any target in the game and force them into combat, right? So then if we go to the last one, which is the archers, as many people know, we've got a decent amount of health, just the same as many people, but we lack defense, meaning we're the glass cannons, right? We can take a lot more damage on us, or we take a lot more damage compared to the others, should we say, but the attack is what stands out. 219 attack, and again, you can compare that to any of the other units, and it makes sense why, you know, on paper archers do the most damage, but they die the fastest at the same time because of how low this defense is. And these stats matter because when you start going up into the tiers, as many people know, you get more stats, right? And you just got to think, as a cavalry unit now with 196 defense, 196 HP, and 262, this is 146 and 146. Even with your buffs that you're going to have on you as a T7 player, your stats aren't even going to come close to even these 196 and 262 stats at base with the bare minimal tech that people might have. But you got to remember, T8 players are the players that have max spent generally in this game. So they've got the maximum amount of tech. And because they've got the maximum amount of tech, again, they're scaling off a higher number from base, meaning you will never catch them at all now in stats unless you have everything maxed out, meaning all the skins are unlocked, all of your, you know, tech is complete, all the mercenary techs are complete, your hero's got the best horses with all the main attributes on and has, you know, valued adornments maxed out too, right? You can keep going down that rabbit hole, and all of that is adding to this, right? which is just craziness when you think about it, because when you start to compare just the T8s on all of these units, it's just ludicrous what we're getting at nearly 200 HP, 164 defense, but nearly 300 attack here. And when we get to T9, you guys are going to throw up, because that's where you start to see the real problem in this game, because people are going to get T8, as we've seen, and have 2 T8 units in the game, which we've already seen. And because of that, as any normal player might, and I mean this, might unlock 1 T8 unit on their account after God knows how much time, well, you got to think those same players now are going to be unlocking T9 troops. And this is, again, now, if you compare it to a T7, it's not even in the same league anymore. 146 on health and attack compared to 275. 367 attack, boys, to 194. And even when you compare it to the middleman, it's nowhere near the same league. You're getting over, look, 262, 167. You are literally getting over 105 extra stat of attack there alone, which is just bonkers when you go to 194 to 262. Like, you can see that isn't nowhere near the same amount of a gap as this gap is, right? And that's what everyone is super concerned about, because at any level, even T9 archers are absolutely terrifying to look at. With 400 attack, they would blow people up on the spot if you're just an average Joe out there, right? You've got the swordsman with 275 on attack and health with 367 defense, man. They're not going to take damage. Same with the pikeman, man. Like, this is just the base attributes we're looking at these units. And if you understand how combat works in this game, your troop combat, like troop stats matter, because when you look at anything in your troop, for example, right, if we go to any of my marchers and we scroll down and we just get to, obviously, like my main bread and butter, Ramses, right? If you look at Ramses, he is using, obviously, unit capacity gems here to give himself some unit capacity, and then with his Theodora and Zuliong that I'm running on this lineup, we run unit health, right? So this is giving me 1.5% going up to 4.5 now maxed, right? It's like 4.59% HP here, and then you've got obviously the final piece down at the bottom, which gives you another one, right? Basically, I'm getting that 6% extra stats, but it's working off that number, which is on those troops, right? So you're going to think even 3% of a much smaller number in terms of just actual scaling isn't even going to come close. And as I said in my last video, and I honestly think this is the smartest thing they can try and do now, if they really want to damage mitigate, is just lock these T9s. Like, don't allow T9s to be used unless you went to a specific season. And maybe that's the way to do it in the future. Because if you made these tier of troops unlockable at specific stages in season progression, I don't think many people would actually complain that maybe T7 is all the way up to season 5. And then from 5 to 8 is where T8 come out for the first time, and that gives you over 3 whole stellar seasons worth of playing through it, or maybe even longer in certain cases, right? Maybe another 5 seasons, and then once those 5 seasons come out, T9 unlocks. So then from season 10 to 15, you got T9. That is, I think, much better progression and a much more stable unlock system, which I think many people would arguably say is fairer. But even then, like, the pace it costs someone to get there currently in game as just a normal player, low spender, and even medium spender, is nowhere near the same level as someone who can literally max buy the stores every single day and just go ham, right? It's just not even close. And even when you start to look at other in-game systems, it keeps following that trend. And just to kind of showcase this is the store. The store is a really good new feature, which I do like, is the merit store, right? I do enjoy the new random store and the new limited store. However, as many people will say and agree with, the way they've structured this, especially if you want to get all the way down to the bottom, right? There's a level 7 and a level 8 reward. It does reward players and it incentivizes players, in all honesty, to go out there and zero cities. It really does. Like, there's no need for that. And even if you want to allow city zeroing in the game, which I do think you should allow, by the way, at least do it correctly and fairly. And the number one thing everyone has said in my previous video, and they all agree with it, and it's just, I think, the most fair and simple rule in the game is, if you're on Alliance territory, you're fine. The whole point of being on Alliance territory is to have all of the bonuses that you and your alliance in your empire have worked on, as you guys know, through your technology. So you have all of these bonuses online. So when your troops are now fighting in that purple zone for us, right? If they're fighting in any of this zone, my troops on the field should have all of those stats, right? But I can't play like that if I get, if at the moment, if I attack someone, my shield drops and I'm allowed instantly to be zeroed by anyone who's literally 100 million, 200 million power, 300 million power around me who wants to, right? It should not work like that. The way it should work is just simple bread and butter strategy, because at the end of the day, this is meant to be a strategy game, is when you come and you invade, for example, maybe in the Golden Expedition or in the Mightiest Empire, what you could do, and I think this is a really clever idea, is obviously during invading, give the invaders of both empires invasion flags, because people don't realize, imagine you did, as some people have seen, you get like spawned in this zone here, right? Imagine this bro flag, for argument's sake, right here is like where you TP'd in, or even this flag over here is where you TP'd in, right? Well, you could start building 1, 2 flags and already start touching the main hive. And if your intention then is to, as you can imagine, blow up and zero people, well, have a good little fight, have a good little mini war, take out these flags, and if you're not on territory and you're on neutral zone, get zeroed, because you should be online, and guess what? You're not on Alliance territory. Like, it's such a simple mechanic, and it gets really in depth, and you see some of the craziest fights and pushes as well during this time, because people obviously love to zero cities. And at the end of the day, if you can reward someone for playing as an empire and playing as an alliance and being able to blow up flags to then obviously build a flag on top of it themselves and then zero anyone that's on non-allied territory, that is good reward for strategic and offensive play, which people want to see. So to me, instantly, which could fix majority of the problems, is what I've said in the last video. Make sure if you attack whatever it is, doesn't matter, if you're unshielded on Alliance territory, your city cannot be swarmed. That is the literal easiest fix instantly to put in the game, and a lot of the free-to-play players will feel a lot more safer, because then they will feel like they're able to TP on the front lines with their alliance, and even if they're gonna send their troops out in the open field and they're gonna get massacred, bro, at least they can have fun and do that, not fear and worry about my shield dropping and then needing to keep teleporting for 15 minutes in case I'm getting chased by a fucking whale or kraken trying to zero my ass down and then shielding. Like, it shouldn't work like that at all. So that's the easiest fix, and we're going to see the brutality of now what happens when you don't honestly just follow some simple rules and have some simple logic in fighting. And I've got an issue even with this, and we're going to go over this too, right? And it does go back in the day. Big shout out to Timmy, because me and Timmy had on episode, I think, 2 of the Whale Insights talking about this, and it's just so goddamn true about this feature, right? So what we're seeing for the very first time here is Blaine using T8 pikemen. So this is T8 pikemen, 5-man swarming. All the other troops, as you can see, are basically at T7 at this time. But you do have to assume he's got max tech. He's got those good old rings, right? He's got good gems. He's a strong ass player. There's no denying it. Everyone knows Blaine's no throw about. He's a big time player, right? So he's now gonna 5-man swarm the Aru Palace, which is currently in possession of Error. And what we need to be careful of here is literally watching now the frame by frame of these attacks, because as you can see, we're going to get into combat in 1 second, which is only obviously a couple of frames here. And when we go in, we're going to see the maximum capacity of this Aru Palace, right? And that's going to give you a kind of an understanding of what we're looking at, because this is over, you got to think, nearly 1 million troops on the battlefield for Blaine's, right? If you look at all of these kind of troops there, right, you've got one at 245k, which is here, and that's his Ramses. You've got 240k, I think that's another 240k, and then you've got a 230k in the back. So this is nearly 1 million worth of troops that he's able to field, and this is because, again, with all of the previous power creeps in the game, which is obviously the facilities, the level upgrades, now having level 35 buildings that most of these guys have, which is creating such a giant unit capacity gap that when they pop those unit cap buffs and get like 30% extra or whatever it is they run now, the number becomes unbearable, right? And watch the lethality of this now, guys. So we're going to go in. He's waiting with his troops, which is very clever, because his archers was going to attack first, and obviously he doesn't want those archers to attack first. If he does, he's basically going to get them melted. So his archer Ramses, really clever call, if you guys kind of want to take any goodness out of this, is how he approaches his attack, because Ramses was first to go in, but he stops it, which is good. Then you can see now he's coming into the attack now, right? So his Lubu is going to be the first, I believe, to attack and then go into these pikemans. And you can kind of see how the swarm goes around and how his T8s are the ones then that start taking the heavy lifting after the main damage that goes through. So there's the fight. So if we just pull it back a tiny second, look at how many troops is in there. 2.97 already. So nearly 3 million troops are in this Aru Palace. Let's press play. If we just pause it now, you can see the health bars on the right side. And this is what I was saying. His Lubu is actually taking the brunt force first, and then his other march is going to come in and take the other brunt after. You'll see this, right? Watch. There it goes. Now his Ramses is taking the brunt and it's getting melted, right? But look at how healthy his marches are, right? His warrior pikeman, which are T8, has only taken probably about 30% of the damage now. And we're going to see the Ramses die. And we've only got the pikes left. Basically, King Arthur taking the damage now. Look at this. His T7 melting, right? And then it's going to come in with just the pike. So there's his first pike down. So Belisarius is down. And his warrior pikeman that he's got in this is still going. So this is 114,000 troops currently going against, as you can see in the middle as we go frame by frame, 1.6 million T7s. And if you've not noticed, we're going to go back and re-watch this again. Look at how much damage this is doing to the center. Look at it. He's doing 31,000 sometimes. He's doing a nice casual 5 to 10k, as you see. And then there's these giant bots of damage that come through on the weaker targets. Now we get to see the report. And this is where it's just absolutely insanity, right? Absolute insanity, because you're going to think these are T8 troops we're using right now, and these are pikemen. How is this fine? If you remember back in the day, guys, and this is the same thing, we said this was a massive issue back in the day when the Aru Palace, or should I say not the Aru Palace, but technically with the Mightiest Empire, which we all witnessed and saw the rise of kind of like the T7s and stuff with these insane power creeps that just decimated everyone that was in the center. And just now, over the last couple of months, people have started to get the 140 heroes and starting to catch up to them in power and kind of get some nice equal fighting. But now we're in this weird limbo again, where we're back to square one. And you would have thought, honestly, the devs, you would have learnt your lesson the first time. We are literally witnessing the exact same issue we had with people like Blaine, like anyone at this power, having the ability to just send 5 marchers and swarm down the objective. And this should not be allowed at all in the game. It just shouldn't. Because why is one player able to take out literally 20 players on his own? It should never, ever allow that to happen. And look at this report. It just gets more crazier. And when we go back and rewatch this footage again, you're going to see just how ridiculous this actually is. Like, look at how much of a positive trade every one of these are of his single troops to the Aru Palace. This is the worst one here, which was the Belisarius. So this might not have had, and it did though, T8 troops, but which was quite shocking. But look at this. That's T7. That warrior pikeman is a problem. It is a problem. So let's just rewatch this warrior pikeman go toe-to-toe again. Because when you start to see now the damage, it's gonna make you hurl, right? We're in the 1v1 now. This is just Cyrus, 50% HP against 1.8 million T7 troops. And you would assume, well, 1.8 million troops surrounding 114 in any reality would obliterate them. But guess what? Not here. Because when we go step by step here, look at the damage that's coming out. 5.2k. 3.3k, 7.1k. Are you ready for the big ones? Big ones about to come. 6.7, 3k, and then out of nowhere, another 7.4, 8.6. He's ramping up now. 6.1. 16,961 damage to someone. Rest in peace, that poor soul, by the way. 6,000. 5,000. And this is, by the way, Look at 10,000 damage. This is just one map. 15,000 damage. This is one guy. 29,000 damage. Like, I am laughing out of court on how insane it is to watch one match do this much damage in the game. 26,000. Like, come on, devs. How much of a wake-up call from us content creators, and how much of a wake-up call from anyone in the community do you need when you're watching one match do nearly 30,000 damage to this? Look at it. This poor rally without reinforcements probably would be dead. It is that much damage coming in, and you can see the reinforcements come in now in real time. Look at that. Reinforcements. And it's going back down to 1.6. Look at that. Reinforcements. Going back down. Boom. 2 million. Going. And it's still all the way until it dies. And then, big shout out to Error, though. That was a really good play if you guys saw it. They kept it at that line of capacity, and as soon as they killed that Cyrus, watch this, 2.1, bang, instantly 2.45 ready for the rally to come in. So that is a big GG, right, to them, taking a big positive out of it. So coming back into reality, what can we do? Well, firstly, like I said, I think the best course of action is to somehow limit the way these tiers unlock. And the most sensible way for me to think about it while people have still got this investment and still going through this is having it locked through specific seasons. So literally seasons 1 all the way to maybe like season 5, T7 only. Maybe, yeah, T7 only, or T6, who knows. Then it goes for 3 seasons, seasons 5, 6, 7, 8, T7. Then from 8, 9, 10, you get, or to 11 maybe, who knows, you get T8. And then afterwards again from like season 15 onwards, you get T9. Because there's no way at the moment we can fix the problem, let's be honest guys, because it's in the game, everyone's already got them out there, so you can't just take it away. Like, you just can't now, because the damage is already done. But if they're gonna do anything, they could fix the way the future comes, right? And the way I would do this personally is pretty simple, right? And this is gonna be obviously upset to the big spenders out there, but guess what? Your mentalities are ruining this game, right? Simply, any pack in this value pack down here, I want all of this total, so buy this every single day for a whole month, add that entire total up, and guess what? Take it out of the shop and put it in events. That's all you need to do. That is literally all you need to do. And if you want to keep in the weekly passes and the battle pass for it, people aren't going to frown upon that, because that is still a time-gated amount, even though you will accelerate this journey. What this does now, though, is reward players to actually get this currency for playing Age of Empires Mobile. And you can do this instantly by putting some in the Gleaming Store. This is one store that is literally shit as fuck. And you could put some of this brand new currency in the Gleaming Store and already offer that as an option, right? You could do the same thing if we go into Expedition, and you can add it in the Apex Arena. Really good way of putting it in the store and giving people options of buying universal medals. Obviously, the different requirements for signet rings, and why not the new age items to go up as well. You can also take this one step further, which many people are quite confused why it's still here, but military exercise. Why not bring out a patch and put this to like 500 stages or something stupid? I don't know. But then in this store, put new age items in again, because this is again allowing players like the top players to complete content and force them to play the game and actually earn that reward, and they're gonna still get it. That's the thing. They are still earning the same amount, but they don't need to be spending the arm and legs that they are currently spending on the game. Because the thing is, everyone, I think, including myself and a lot of content creators, were quite optimistic about Miracle Age, and we thought, you know what, if it's just that weekly pass, this would actually work out, especially in the Desolate Desert rewards and the Mightiest Empire rewards and so on, right? So why not just go back to that philosophy and let it play out? Instead of forcing and trying to squeeze out as much money as possible out of every single player that you can do, why not just take a step back and say, you know what, this Citadel Saga here and these packs that we've got up here, the Golden Expansion and Guiding Torchlight, are actually enough. These are actually enough. This is all we need, because what we can do as a company, and actually a good game company, is put whatever we would expect this total amount in and put it into the game. Because the way you've got to think about this is, yes, you might be thinking short term you're going to be losing out money because the big spenders can't obviously buy this pack. Big whoop-de-fucking do. What you're going to be able to do, though, is actually attract now more players to the game. If you can attract more players to the game that can even spend, for argument's sake, $50 to $100, bro, if you can get millions and millions of those players, you're going to outweigh the one Kraken that's out there, because that one Kraken is, yeah, it might be equal to a lot of them, but if he goes, you've still got the player base. Your whole business model shouldn't be relying on top Krakens in order to support your game. It just shouldn't, right? And I think the best way of doing it, honestly, is taking this out of the store and adding it into the game. And you can also, just as a theory, and this is one video that I've been wanting to make, and obviously a lot of people have been asking for it, why are you not making more expedition modes? Just like, obviously, we have Battlefield Survivor, no one wants that now, right? Why not just make like some good 5v5 game modes and 10v10 game modes, and people can come into the expedition area and play Island Tactics and Apex Arena and Military Exercise, but they can also play now these PvP modes and match against the other players around Age of Empires Mobile, you know, in the world, let's just say, and just play against them around similar power and have fun. Just have fun and play the game. Because if you could do that, you could also implement stores, which also adds new age items to that, right? There's so many ways, which infuriates me as a content creator, that there's easy ways of like adding what you want to the game, but allowing players to actually earn it, and then work on different areas, which you already do, and monetize those. Because let's be real, the monetization for skins is absolutely insanity. Anyone will tell you that is absolute insanity in order to do this, right? But people do it. So why try and squeeze every ounce out of everything that you've got before you kill the very thing that started off, obviously, your journey, right? Just why? I don't get it. So hopefully today's video, you guys have enjoyed it. Sorry for a little bit more of the rant at the end, but it is what it is, right? But hopefully you understand and seen in today's video the difference between these tiered units of a T7, 8, and T9. You understand why this is important, because obviously stuff like your gems, and depending on what you run in your adornments, and even obviously your mounts in general, all scales of certain stats on here, which is super important. And this obviously means you can outweigh anyone nearly 2 to 1 per troop, which is just ridiculous going into it on a base level, right? And you've seen the gameplay from Blaine's on how insane this is already. And we didn't even, and do you know what? No, we'll keep going, because why fucking not, right? Even Freik came in, and I'm gonna say, hey, Freik, I just don't agree with what you said there, buddy. You know, but if we go back to some of these dream reports with like Satest now, let's just like dive into some of them, right? Because you can think we've got 117,000 to 173k, right? This is, again, when you're looking at these troops, obviously this is the one, and you can see here these are eliminated enemies, so you can see Dreamy only killed, and this is because of his obviously his Citadel, 18.2k of these troops, but everyone else, less than 1,000 troops died, but they took so much back in return compared to this, which was over 769k eliminations, right? Your unit's still happy. They only lost 14.2k troops overall for attacking a city, man. Like, what are we doing here? This is just insane stats that you can have on this one match. And if we go now into that, obviously go into the comparison now, you're going to be able to see... Oop, wrong one. You'll be able to see just how one-sided T8 is compared to a T7 player. And you gotta think, this is a maxed player now. 50 rings. Maxed basically levels that you can have at the moment. Best gems possible, I believe, in the game as well, right? This might as well be a developer's account at this rate, right? Going against just someone normal here, right? And when you go into the details, it just makes you throw up. If you go on to, like, anyone, Triz, he tried, Dreamy, 150, look at that. The closest we're going to get, and he even doesn't have max rings compared to that, so that's already a disadvantage in this. Pikes, obviously, lose to swordsman in general, but really good actual garrison, as people would say. But, like, he did 20 activations and only did 23.2k damage in 20 activations. Somehow his King Arthur did 13 activations and did 380,000. Like, how does this comprehend between T7 to T8? And now you got to think T7 to T9, you could activate 100 times and probably do 2,000 damage. And this T9 is going to activate 5 times and do 1 billion damage and just kill you on the spot. Like, come on, man. Like, what? How? I don't know how to say it. You know what I mean? I'm speechless on how much in your face this is. Like, there is a problem. You can see the problem right here, directly on screen. And you didn't think the community would be upset about this. And you didn't think the community would be in uproar at all about this. You are insane. Like, look at the stat difference. Nearly 1.1 thousand might on a King Arthur. 822, 125 on these two. Doesn't even come close to what Dreamy had there in stats. And because of that, you can see, like, the scaling when you go into these different might attack bonuses. You can see, look at this, max 89%. It doesn't matter, it's flat, it's everywhere across, compared to obviously Dreamy, that's got certain focuses but only has 85%. Heroes 413% compared to 338. VIP level 10 to 7. Alliance tech 4.5 to 9.5, and that's because, as you can imagine, Dreamy was on Alliance territory, which just showcases the Alliance tech here for counter swarming cities doesn't help anyone at all. And if the devs even thought a little bit, they could have put, you know what, if you're on Alliance territory, let someone swarm you. But your Alliance tech bonus here on these units should be like plus 200% or 300%. Just some ridiculous number. So then if someone like Sates does hit you and you've got your units on that you play, whatever it is, they get punished for doing so, because this is not acceptable. Like, people should be allowed to get zeroed through rallies, through teamwork, or maybe destroying flags, but no one should be allowed to just 5x swarm freely. Like, I can't put it any else, you know what I mean? Like, look at the theme bonus difference, man. Like, every bonus here is insanity. Insanity. The matching on the training mercenaries, which is a good shout, and the adornment dream he's got him on that, right? But look at this overall, and you can see why it's at 900 to his 794%. But you got to think, he's being swarmed, guys, by one unit, and all of his troops have got all of these bonuses on, and it still doesn't outweigh the one. Like, I can't paint it more black and white to the devs, but you have a serious problem right now, and I'm telling you, you need to make an announcement, or, hey, hit me up on Discord or wherever you want, and we can talk about this and try to maybe have an interview. I don't know, because this is insanity right now, and no one in their right mind honestly wants to keep playing this game because of how bad this is and how silent the devs are and how you're not addressing the massive fucking walrus mammoth megalodon fucking thing in the fucking room, dude, man. Like, address it, and you need to tell us that there's some sort of plan to fix it, because if you don't, I am telling you very calmly, guys, many of us, including myself, will be looking for something else, because this is just not it, man. This is not what people expected Age of Empires Mobile to go. They understand monetization. They understand it's a mobile game. They know these style of games in general. But the way you've taken this to the absolute extreme is honestly taking the fucking piss. It is taking the fucking piss. So, let's wait, guys, for the announcements from, obviously, the devs, and hopefully they give us a response. And if you've enjoyed, obviously, yesterday's video, thank you for, obviously, the likes and the subscribe and all of the shares about. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video for the same reasons. And also, just to kind of let you guys know, tomorrow and the other two videos that I did plan on this week before this T8 disaster will be coming out. So you're going to watch some absolute fun keck me moments. Go for it. Go for it. So till the next one, smash that comment and subscribe. Until then, stay safe, stay sneaky, guys. Peace out.